here's B. He wanted to come in the video today. Yes, because little baby Memes was in and he was getting a bit jealous, weren't you, my darling? Okay. But you're a bit too big to get on here with me, aren't you? And to go in my lap. Okay, guys. So here is the last. Don't expect this every month, guys. You've had a little bit of an extravaganza this month through Libra season. And that's really only for one reason. Because I don't have a partner. So I'm waiting for that to happen one day soon. Okay. And I actually thought that, you have to excuse me, I've just woken up more or less, that that was it. I actually thought that that signs changed on like the 21st of the month. I've always thought it was like the 21st and occasionally the 22nd, but actually I keep hearing more and more that it's like the 23rd. Okay, and so we don't go into Scorpio season until tomorrow, guys. Okay, and I'm hearing a lot of sort of people in in the comments of various influencers and things like that, astrologers and stuff, saying, and I agree, this Scorpio season actually can't come soon enough. Okay, it has to happen, right? There are people out there who need to experience the fire and they need to get pushed into the fire. Okay, it's just as simple as that. Okay, and those are really the people kind of at the top of the food chain. But anyway, hang on, I haven't really done this yet today, guys. I know you think I just do it when I'm on here, but no, I don't. Okay, right, one of the things that I wanted to pick up on the last video was to say, okay, now if I ever talk about kind of people in particular, it's usually the people who are very, very close to my in my circle. Okay, very close friends and family. Okay, and very occasionally then I might, and have done in the past, but I haven't done for a long time, I might actually make reference to a conversation that I've had with someone. Okay, and so I kind of did that on the last video, and I really, really want to be clear, guys. Like I said to you, I don't want you to feel sorry for me, and mainly because I've actually just had incredibly good karma, guys. Okay, in this life, I've been very, very, very blessed. Okay, so I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I have come to actually be very thankful for my fire. Okay, because I know that it wasn't one anywhere close to some of the situations like the people in Africa. I'm not saying that in a blasé way when I talk about the people of Africa. I hate that those tribes have been destroyed. I believe that the tribes that are left are the ones that are actually holding the fragments of the Earth's grid together. Okay, they are the ones that are actually maintaining those tribes, as well as then the kind of sadhus and things like that are meditating in caves. Okay, they're holding the fabric of our reality together. They exist on completely different realms and in completely different planes of existence, I believe, and they know the pain that the first world is going through, and that we forced that pain onto the third worlds. Okay, because we can't have the first worlders can't have the third worlders holding the fabric of existence together. They want it to fall apart. They want us to be desperate and, addicted, basically. And this is why, then, guys, I always say that, well, I don't always say it. In fact, I haven't actually said it on here at all, but I do sometimes say it, and I have written it down, kind of when I used to have a blog and things like that. Which is to say that if you are in an addiction cycle, okay, and I will talk a little bit about my own addictions as well on this one. And I know why, it hasn't really been about Libra season, but I mean, obviously all the astrological, kind of transits work together, but there's been a lot of retrogrades, which means we're going back into old patterns. Really feel sorry for some people who are so kind of stuck in these ways of relating that are just getting them nowhere fast, okay? And they're just getting stuck deeper and deeper into a quagmire, okay, of quicksand that's sinking quick. And yes, Scorpio season can't come soon enough because it has to be destroyed, okay? It has to be destroyed. There is no other way. I've been saying, to some of the people in my life, it's been going on far too long, okay? And there will be no transformation until certain aspects of their lives have been destroyed. Those are, these very superficial relationships, okay? They have to go. There's no point of them. They are just holding you back. This is the other thing that a lot of influencers are saying, I don't know who needs to hear this, but there's something in your life that is seriously, seriously toxic. It's either a substance or a person, a way of relating, or something, of your own behavior that has to stop. And this is the time. We're going into Scorpio season and you have to destroy something, okay? Otherwise, it will destroy you. Okay, and this is what I mean. Like, even the universe, actually, when I was thinking about it, even the universe can't quite push you into the fire, because trust me, people do it. Okay, they resist the fire. They keep resisting, and then their lives just keep getting worse and worse. Okay, and those will be the people who are on the street. Okay. Now, and the first thing that you have to do, and I've been close to it, guys. I've been close to it, even though I haven't been hanging on and holding on, and maybe sometimes I have, to seeing my whole life be destroyed and realizing that I'm that close to being on the street, and how fucking easy it is to be that person. Okay, I've seen and I have been that close, right? And the thing that pulls you out of it, well, is number one, getting out of toxic ways of relating. And number two is trust. We have to trust our path. We have to trust our purpose. We have to trust what the universe throws in our path, okay? We have to trust it. And more than that, we actually have to come to love it. We have to come to love and accept, in a state of God's love, okay? In a state of total benevolence, of the experience of everything, okay? In the whole world, right? We, as the purveyors of the truth, okay, are going to have to come to love, the cabal. They know that, and that's why they just keep going on and on and on, and they try and insult us, more and more and more, okay? But we have to come to actually love the way that our life has been destroyed, okay? We have to come to love our own tragedy, because that is the way that we come to self-love, okay? We come to self-love, and then eventually we come to a place of acceptance. And that's when we're coming into God's love, and that's when we are becoming and fully moving into a place of being in a state of love, okay? And then we can just accept and love and bring harmony to then, all of the tricky and sticky situations in our lives. Number one, by having boundaries, okay? And number two, by removing ourselves, okay? If it's something that is just going on and on and on, and every time you're saying stop, it isn't being listened to. And even though people will tell you, oh, it's different this time, and oh, I really, really changed, and oh, I've told that person, I've cut that thing and that person or that substance or that, family member or whatever it is, I've cut them out of my life. I'm never going to do it again. Listen, guys, if people are saying that to you, generally it just isn't true. It's coming from a place of addiction, okay? Because when somebody is really cutting something out of their life, they don't have to, they might, the first thing is, particularly if it's a person, they need to actually say to that person, I'm sorry, but that's it, and it's over, okay? And if they haven't said to that person, but they're just expecting them to get it, it's still a way in, and they're leaving a door open, okay? And it's the same for substances. It's the same for all, addictive behaviors, basically. People are tricky and sticky when it comes to addictions, and they will lie and cheat and beg and steal, okay? And, quite often, more often than not, they are very narcissistic and they believe their own lies, okay? That's the difference, right? They actually think, and somebody said to me recently, well, I think sometimes it's a little white lie. Okay, no, no, okay? Somebody caught me out on a little white lie, actually, and, I thought that was the truth when I said it, okay? And so, but I'm leaving it at that, and I won't go on down that road, okay? So, so I have come to, love my life and love my nemesis, and, yes, and that is how we come to love, okay? We come to love, and we come to just be in total acceptance. We have to stand back, and we have to actually allow, if it is a person in our lives in particular, we have to allow them to make their own mistakes. Stop getting involved. This is one of the things that I learned from my dad, actually. And I just have so much respect for my dad. I've got to be honest, guys. It's so unfortunate that I haven't met someone like my dad. I met the sort of the bad aspects, in a way, I think, but I don't even know the fullness of, my dad's shadow, really, but things that, we think may have happened. I've met the shadow aspect of my dad, but I have never met and been in relationship with the mature masculine that my dad emits, okay? He brings safety. He brings protection. He created such a safe home, and it was a beautiful thing. It just felt so good. My sister can't stop going back there because it just feels so safe. It's a safe haven. And I don't think that man ever has raised his voice to me. Maybe when I was a baby, and I just can't remember, and I was, we were just freaking out and being whatever kind of thing. And I'm not saying that that's, the best way to be, because actually I came to realize, and this is how I came to kind of realize, that things skip a generation, okay? So you will be much more like your grandparents were. So, and your children will be much more like your parents were, okay? Because these patterns skip a generation. whoever was the narcissistic created an empath, and who was an empath created a narcissist. The narcissist creates an empath, and the empath creates a narcissist. It's like that because it's power over. Okay, so if you have power over, then the person that you are dealing with becomes the understander. Okay, and they have to understand, because otherwise you're just going to freak out and you're going to start throwing things, start punching things, start putting holes in walls and doors and things like that, and it gets very scary. Nobody wants to be around that, and so they have to become the pleaser and the joker, and they want to G people up, and they want to make them feel good, and they want to make them feel better. Okay, but the one thing that my dad always goes back to whenever there's a little bit of drama, he just says, stay out of it. Just keep your nose clean. Keep your nose out of it. And it's taken me a really fucking long time to learn that one, I can tell you. Okay, because I had his parents' genes, really, and they were very volatile, actually. I've come to realize he's never really spoken about that, I don't think. Maybe a little bit, but they were, they were passionately in love, I think, my grandparents, and for that reason it was a very passionate relationship. And so probably, I should imagine, a lot of things maybe got thrown around, and that kind of thing, and I think there was a lot of shouting and screaming, and that was the way to communicate. And so I sort of took on that, really, and as well, having not ever heard my parents argue, I was around an atmosphere, okay, and we'd just be like, oh, it's almost in the, although my parents, what I love about my parents, is that they were and are, Christian, okay? And so, even though there are so many things that I don't agree with Christianity, okay, and God-fearing, religions, there are loads of things. But what I do agree with and what I do believe in is the fact that their whole purpose and their whole experience is one of moving towards love, okay, of really trying hard, and often it is the fact that they try hard that sort of stops it from really happening, particularly when it comes to our own vessel, okay, because we have to create ease. We don't want to try hard, okay, because trying hard is disease. We have to create ease, okay? And so, but that's a conversation, okay? And recently, people are sort of starting to say and be really honest and say, but they just kind of throw it in there right at the end of some time together of, oh, I actually think that there's something wrong with me. Okay, right, there's nothing I can do right now as I'm walking out the door, okay? If you want to have that conversation and you want to get serious about it and you actually really want to get well, then it's a conversation that we need to sit down and have, and it's one that honestly you have to pay for, okay? Because because otherwise you're not going to be listening and you aren't going to take any of it in. And that is the number one thing that I have come to realize is that I can and I will, and that's why I do this goddamn work, okay, on here, okay, honestly. Well, that and the fact that I have a Scorpio vibe, okay, guys, and I've, come to realize, right, this is what I wanted to say to you guys over the last couple of weeks, is that my Scorpio, my Black Moon Lilith, okay, and she's the destroyer, right, is in Scorpio, okay, guys, and it's actually kind of a cusper. The one thing I haven't talked to you about is the houses, and maybe we'll go down that road another time, but sometimes my Black Moon Lilith is in the home, and that has been true for me, okay, and sometimes my Black Moon Lilith is in, that's the 4th house, and sometimes my Black Moon Lilith is in the 5th house, which is creativity. Okay, so she's a cusper, and I very much, some people just don't believe in cuspers, but I absolutely do. And I think in some ways a cusper takes on the extremes of both those. You know, my dad's a cusper, actually, I've come to realize. And they can take on the extremes of both signs, okay? And my black moon Lilith, she can do that. But so, you know, but it, so the fifth, and so she's in the fifth sign of my creativity, okay, guys, which is why I finally realized why I am the harbinger of doom, okay, and why I bring it. And I bring it through and in my creativity. So I used to be able to bring it in my business, okay? So, you know, 1 week a month, I would be able to get up on in front of everyone and tell them exactly what I think, okay? And that is an area, a way for me of purging. And obviously I used to be in a relationship, so I used to be able to tell, you know, that person exactly what I think, kind of thing. And now I'm not in either of those, okay? I don't have either of those outlets, and that's why I'm on here, okay? It's not to talk to people that I know, like I said before I destroyed, okay, my last channel. It's to talk to the people who I don't know, and it's just to purge, because I'm so anti everything that's going on in the world, okay? I'm totally anti, and I want to destroy, okay? I want to destroy. It has to be destroyed. And the only way, there's only one way, there's only one true way to create healing, and that is to bring the illumination. It has to be outed. If it's kept a deep, dark secret, it's a shadow, okay? And, you know, we even talk about shadow. You know, we talk about disease as shadow. In the lungs, for instance, it's a shadow. If there's some disease setting in the lungs, we describe it as a shadow. And it very much is a shadow. You know, we're all holding a shadow in our lungs and around our heart, okay? It's about grief. It's a deep grieving, okay? And, you know, we have differing ways that we grieve our own, in particular, experience and of life, okay? And then there is the collective grieving, okay? And that goes deep. I mean, even if you are a woman who has never experienced, you know, abuse kind of thing in her home, you're still holding the shadow of it, and the shadow of feeling like, you know, your body is disgusting and it's not right and it looks ugly, and, you know, and this is what I mean then, guys, when I say I'm living my best life. Okay, right now. I mean, I know that there will be lots of people sort of on the outskirts going, oh God, I can't believe she said that. I can't believe she said, how's her life the best life? She didn't do anything. She stayed, you know, you know, and, but because for me, life is all about feeling. It's about how we feel. And you can't, first, right? And you can't create a best life if the deep well within is empty and you're actually dredging up then just the sludge in the bottom of the well all the time, and desperately kind of putting a bucket down there to sort of like bring up something that you can then bring to the party, that you can then offer people, and it's just a load of sludge. Okay, that to me, or, you know, is something that you are actually, you're kind of putting the bucket down into the well and just kind of putting the bucket down in the well, and everything's fine, so nobody can tell that you're pulling up the well, you're pulling up the bucket and it's empty, okay, because it's like it's like smoke and mirrors. It's the trickster, okay, the joker, the pleaser is the trickster, and it can make everything appear to be great and to be grand, okay, but actually it's a deep shadow. It's a deep well. And I know that shadow. That's why I'm coming to out it now, because I was stuck really deep in that shadow. And it's one that where you cannot see the shadow. You just can't see it because you're living in the superficiality of people pleasing for humanity. Okay. And on one level, yes, it feels so good to be around those people. And I know it because I'm one of those people, and I'm a help to make people feel safe. Okay. I want to contain, I want to be the container. I want to help to create the container for people. But now I've come to realize that is an empty container, and you can't contain anyone. They have to contain themselves. They have to learn to contain themselves. So the only thing you can really do is kind of destroy their idea of reality that isn't a true one. Okay, because the truth is that we have to go, and we have to go willingly into the fire, unless we just want to keep fighting the universe and end up, literally penniless and on the street. Okay, because that can and does happen for many people. Okay, and I don't want to, like I always say, I don't like to lessen the tragedy of humanity. It is painful, and I was going to say for some people, but it's painful for everyone. We all carry the shadow of the way that humanity suffers. Okay, and quite often when we're not even looking at it, we're having to experience it anyway. Now, I really quickly, can't believe we're almost done with this fucking half hour again. Just really quickly, I said I was going to touch on a few of my addictions, and one of those, it's not really an addiction as such, kind of the main one, because it is my medicine. Okay, and the main way that I take my medicine is in fat. Okay, is as an oil, right? And that is just pure medicine. Because it's in fat, it helps to soften the fat. And because it's a medicine, it goes in there deep, okay? And it stirs up the toxicity, right? But the actual addiction is to the inhalation, okay? But I've just had my harvest, and so I kind of have to test my harvest, okay? And I don't have my machine anymore, which helps me to test my harvest, and I need to get another one of those. And that is to just take then the vapor rather than burn, okay, rather than create smoke. And but I'm not in any way, shape or form. In fact, I think it's the most disgusting and the most ugly form of addiction are these vapes and these vaporizers, because that is just pure chemical, and you are creating popcorn lung. Okay, I don't care who you think you are. Yes, you're degenerating. But so I've been going down that road. But then I also had the experience of this kind of oxygen, hydrogen, Brown's gas type stuff, and great. I had 2 5-minute hits. And yeah, it seriously cleaned up my blood. And it's not that I've never been there before. I know it cleaned up my blood because I have been there before, because I'm often going into that place where I then can't feel the medicine. And so, I often talk about health indicators, and the medicine is a big one, because if you can't feel the medicine, right, it's because your blood's clean. Okay, and so I take it anyway, whether I can feel it or not. Okay, because I just want to keep cleaning up my blood continuously, because I'm continuously taking in toxicity. And I actually like feeling the medicine. I don't actually want to be that clean yet. Why? Because humanity is toxic, and there's nothing actually more boring than being the only one who is channeling the fucking light. It's very limiting because what you're around is just extreme density. So we need to actually, or I do, and it helps me to go into the shadows. I like to stay a little bit toxic. Now, it got extreme and it can go extreme. And before we had the shot, I wasn't feeling the medicine. I was, I was still taking it. But I didn't really feel it because I had cleaned up my act so freaking much, okay? But if you're going into deep and dark realms of paranoia with the medicine, and particularly if you're hardly having any of it, that is an indicator, okay? And it's telling you that you need to use the medicine, you need to take it in fat, and you need to start washing out what's there, because the beauty of the medicine is it will never kill you. And I feel safe letting my son do that. Okay. Sayonara.